Hey, we're either a minute early or a minute late, depending on how you look at it. I'm having problems with my audio right now. Hopefully, you'll be able to hear this. Yeah, there it goes. Looks like it's working now. Um, the thing about that I said, that democracy is in trouble. I mean that sincerely. You got this guy Flynn, who's encouraging people. He was a an advisor to the Trump man, and he's making comments now at a QAnon event that he should to have a Myanmar. I don't know whether I pronounced this right, but a Myanmar style coup in the United States now, not in a week or two. Now, um, I kind of find that scary. I kind of think that this is really. Really scary, and that there's people out there that they're encouraging an insurrection, and I have no idea which side the military or anybody else is going to come down on. I mean, the military is loaded with gang personnel, people with their own agendas and everything like that. I don't know what the generals and the colonels and the captains and so on are going to do if something happens. I do know that it would be a I doubt very seriously it would be a peaceful coup. QAnon seems to think that the military is just going to step in and reinstall Trump as president. They may do a lot of things. They may put some other whack job in there, but they're not going to put Trump in. Trump's too uncontrollable. He's too unpredictable, and they don't want that. So I have no idea what's going to happen there. I hope that I hope that what I'm saying here, I'm looking at my meters and stuff like this, and I'm hoping my voices is coming across all right. But I have no idea right at the moment. Anyhow, uh, the situation gets worse every minute, every day. You have no. They don't want to do anything to this guy Gant, who's doing what he accused the Democrats of doing, running a um, human trafficking ring out of Congress or someplace. I don't know. Uh, they don't want to do anything with this Marjorie Green, who is either an attention uh, getting or gathering nerd, or she's really a dangerous individual. She's a dangerous psychopath with absolutely no concept of what reality is. Um, I I fear for the country when you see stuff like that. You don't really know. You have people there that are supposed to be responsible and they're elected, and yet they don't believe the truth. Now you're screaming at me. Some people will be screaming at me. Well, the truth is the election was stolen. Well, give me some proof. When the first time I had a problem like this with Republicans was back when Obama put through Obamacare, and he said, and the Republicans went nuts. They screamed it was horrible, it was wrong, blah 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 blah. And I said in posts, written posts that back then, that if you've got a better idea, let's hear it. If you're not going to come up with a better idea, and all you want is to keep things the way they were, which wasn't helping the people in this country, then I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. And they couldn't come up with anything. They didn't come up with any counter proposals to Obamacare. The same thing happened during the Trump administration. He couldn't get them to come up with a. They don't want to do anything. They just want to sit there. I guess the pharmaceutical industry is very powerful. Obviously, um, it's like I've said I watched a Chris Rock routine one time, and I talk about it where he turned around and he said, there is a cure for cancer. And they said, what were you talking about? What do you mean? I said, well, because there's no money in a cure. And it's right every disease, including the COVID that's out there right now. There's no money in a cure, and the vaccination isn't a cure. They've already said they're going to have to add boosters to this and whatnot. So it's like one of the biggest money makers for the pharmaceutical industry is the common cold, and they can't cure it. They can heal it once it starts, but they can't prevent it. You know, cancer there's a cure for cancer. I believe that as well as everybody else does. But that's not a Democratic thing. That's not a Republican thing. That's a money thing. That if that's really true and there is a cure out there, that's just strictly a money thing. It's got nothing to do with politics. But politics is like they're afraid of something. I don't know what they're afraid of. Uh, I've seen politicians get scared. The brave ones are gone now. The McCains and whatnot. They're not around anymore. You don't have this uh, voice out there that's strong and powerful, and will sit there and tell you, hey, listen, we got to do something here. And it's coming from the Republican side. I mean, he was a great man. I mean, he and Biden together today would heal this country. I guarantee you they would have, because they were friends, and they knew how to work together. And they crossed that aisle every once in a while. The one that's like it's like, I don't know, some famous sea that separates countries from war. It's I don't know what to say. They don't want to have a committee to search to figure out what happened on January 6th. And you have Kevin McCarthy that says he doesn't want one, and he blocked it along with Mitch the bitch. And you sit there and you've got this. I mean, this man McCarthy, where he said, prior to, right after, here I go again, a couple weeks or whenever after the insurrection, he made comments that he would definitely Trump had to take responsibility for this. And now he's going around saying Trump bears no responsibility for this. We don't need a commission. It's all smoke and mirrors or whatever. And I'm sitting there telling you that's not all smoke and mirrors. I mean, there's a whole lot of crap that's going on that for some reason or another they're afraid of. I mean, apparently Mitch is afraid of some phone call that he had with Trump after he said what he said and everything. The first time, that Trump was part of it. Um, I don't know what they're afraid. You know, I bring this up because I remember back in the day when Kennedy was elected. They started talking about J. Edgar Hoover, who was head of the FBI at the time. He started the FBI, and he was still around at the time. And they were talking about how he had a book on everybody in the Senate and in politics. He knew them all. He knew all the little dirty little secrets and everything. So nobody messed with him. And of course, when he died, they said Johnson had it. They said a lot of things. But that's what people are coming up to me and saying, that Trump has must have a book on everybody, because he's able to say and do things that any other politician would be crucified for, and he's not. His party stands behind him. Even the moderates in the party stand behind him. Like they're afraid of something. They're what? I guess they're afraid of losing the seat that they have now, and that's quite that could happen. I mean, nobody wants Trump back. I don't even think the Republicans want Trump to come back. It would be the worst thing for this country. It would be the end of democracy. Um, you would see fighting in the streets. You would see riots. You would see the inauguration would be more of a battle than it would be a party. Uh, you'd see human rights disappear. You would see free speech disappear. The press would not be non-existent. You'd have people like the only way you'd hear anything that was controversial or whatnot, and I'm not that controversial, but people like me that are living overseas, and we'd probably have people knocking on our door with trench coats and fedoras on. If you're old like me, you don't give a shit, but you never know. Um, there's uh, it's just the situation is never in my life. Okay, in my 75 years on this planet, have I ever seen a situation where people were encouraging insurrection in the government? Never have I seen a situation. I mean, there were individuals, you'd hear you standing on a street corner, you see these guys in New York, standing on the street corners preaching insurrection and the world is going to end tomorrow and all that. But this is a lot different. This is people in power, in political, out there in the political world saying these things that there should be an insurrection to give Trump back the government, a government that he screwed up, a government that he couldn't run, that he couldn't control. I mean, you got a guy that sits there and makes public statements that he admires how everybody sits up straight and everything. When Kim stands on the stage to speak, he tells his friends this, and it's overheard by reporters and what have you. And I believe it because this is Trump, and and that's ridiculous because these people don't sit up because they admire their leader or they have deep respect for their leader. They sit up like that because if they don't, they're going to get shot. You have two ways of getting admiration. And the best way is you deserve it. You do something wonderful. You're a good man, whatever. The same thing with respect. You do good things and whatnot. And Trump doesn't want it that. Trump wants to have fear as the motivation. He wants people to walk around on eggshells when they're around him. He wants everybody to sit back and say that this is the greatest leader of all time. And he's not. He's not even close. He's a pig is what he is. I mean, and so, and I don't understand how these people get elected. I guess I can't understand it. I mean, I say I don't understand it. I understand it. These people get elected because they know who to cater to. I mean, elections aren't the way they were when I was younger. Let's see. I remember Eisenhower cruising around the country on train. Talking off the back of a train before TV became the big thing. You actually had to go out and the people that you wanted them to, if you wanted them to vote. Now you have a rally. Okay, so Trump's rally is all Trump people there, so there's no controversy. There's no back talk to him. The same thing if you do a debate, the audience is selected. The same thing with the Democrats. I mean, Biden isn't going to walk out there to a militant crowd. He I don't know. Yeah, it's the way it's done nowadays. It's all programmed. They don't talk off the cuff. They don't talk. They don't hold up a piece of paper that with the speech that they wrote on, or they just stand up there and recite it. There's no great oratory out there anymore, especially from the Republican side. Um, the last modern day president that was a great orator was Kennedy. Wasn't a great president, but it was a great orator. There's no Martin Luther Kings out there anymore. You know, there's nobody that can stand up in front of a crowd and mesmerize them with their voice. You know, Trump does it with bullshit. He doesn't do it with his voice. The power of his voice means nothing. He stutters around and changes topics more than I do. At least I got an excuse. I'm getting old. I'm not running for public office. I'm just sitting here, running my mouth off on a Monday because I got nothing better to do and TV sucks. But, look at all the violence that's out there now. You see it. I mean, I see it all the time. I read about it, 20 people shot, 30 some odd people shot in a club because guys got out and wanted to shoot up the place for some reason or another. He says, well, we got to stop the sale of automatic weapons. They use AR-15s, they use M104s, they use Kalashnikovs. All of those weapons are sold as semi-automatic weapons, and then you can either get the kit online through the dark web. I don't know whether you can buy it. I don't think you can buy it legally from a regular website, or you go to a gun show and you buy these kits, and and then 5 minutes later, if the guy's got any brains and any mechanical skill, he's got a fully automatic weapon. And that's just. I mean, I was in school. We made zip guns. Today the kids convert semi-autos to full autos. They used to use the gun of choice for mass shooting used to be a Mach 10, which was equivalent to the Israeli Uzi, the little machine pistols. They have no accuracy. After 20 feet, they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with one of those things. So they just kill indiscriminately. That's the same thing with the automatic weapons. These guys aren't aiming them. They're holding them at their waist, and they're just blasting away. And they don't care who they kill, how old that person is, how young that person is. They don't understand that they're taking a future away from somebody. They don't care. They made that's what was it. I was watching Chicago PD one night, and they had this professional gunman, sort of semi-retired hitman, and he was taught they were using him to try and catch a modern hitman, and he said that there used to be honor in it, and that nowadays the kids will kill your daughter if they can't get a hold of you. They'll kill 100 people to get one. They'll take out a city block to kill one person. I mean, that's true. That's the way they operate right now. That's the way the terrorists operate. They would take out the whole city of Washington, D.C. if they thought they could kill the president of the United States. One man, that's all. And he isn't the government, but they don't care, The same thing in Israel. Would take out Nathaniel, I can't pronounce his name, but the prime minister there, they would take out half the country if they thought it would get rid of him. The thing that stops these people right now, some of them, not all of them, is rational thought. The people from the religious sects and whatnot that are doing this have no rational thought, and that's the thought that brings me back to QAnon and these other groups that are out there. They're not thinking rationally. They're extremely dangerous. You can sit down with a rational person and you can predict what they're going to do. You can predict the limits to which they will do something. When you're dealing with an irrational person or an irrational group, you cannot predict what they're going to do. There is absolutely no way you can predict it. They have a million different ways they come at you. They're completely unexpected. They'll kill 1,000 people to kill one person. It's just what I was just saying. I mean, they have no rational thought. And that worries me again, because it's these QAnon people, these fringe political groups and whatnot that are out there like that. They don't understand the effect of pulling a trigger. They don't understand the effect of pushing a button and blowing up a car. They don't understand what happens. You know, you're not just hurting an individual. You're in the case of some of the stuff that's going on in the United States, you're hurting a lot of people. I mean, they want to they use this as an excuse to dumb down television, news, and everything else. They use it as an excuse to dumb it down, because they say, "Oh, it's too much violence." I've seen a lot of violence in my life. I've seen people get killed in car wrecks. I've seen them have to be hosed out of a car. I've seen people shot in the streets of Newark. I've probably seen more than I want to see, and I have to admit that I'm somewhat immune to it, and it doesn't really bother me. Um, it's sort of like, knowing I'm going to die someday. It really doesn't bug me that much. Um, so I didn't get that from television. I knew when it was a cartoon. I knew it wasn't real when when the anvil dropped on the coyote. I knew that. My mom and I would go to the. I told you this, I think, a couple times, but we would go to these serial movies, which was like watching a series on television. Now, when you went to the movie theater, and one week you'd walk in and there's Michael Ansara or some other Indian actor playing a chief, and the guy gets shot. Come back next week, he's back, he's alive in another movie. We knew this was fake. We understood it. Our parents sat there with us and told it was fake. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe the entertainment industry, especially the gaming industry, is so geared to young people to that they don't let the adults into it. you know, and adults don't want to be part of it. They don't want to because of the because let me tell you something. A 50-year-old guy is not going to be a good gamer because look at me. I couldn't play some of those games because my hand-eye coordination is horrible. But maybe that's the reason, though, because there is no parental supervision. You know, I asked somebody this one time, how come everybody says everything's so much better right now? And then this was what our parents told us. They said everything's better for your generation. My mom didn't work. My dad paid all the bills. We had a nice brand new car every 4 years. Okay. I wasn't considered rich. I was considered I guess that was middle class back then. Um, Even when things went bad, my mom, was always there for me. She was home. Some people say that screwed me up. So I don't know whether that did or not. I have no idea. But my mom was there. My nieces, their mom was there. The people I know that are out there now, their mom or their pop was there. You know, they had people to talk to at night. You didn't come home to an empty house and turn on a TV. If you went out and you had a babysitter, you knew the babysitter, or the nanny or whatever. You knew these people, and they were friends of the family. They didn't come to events to watch you. They came to events to have a good time with your family, because they were friends. We paid them, but they were friends. They were like members of the family. You don't have that today, you know. The biggest babysitter in the world is a television set, and that's where you run into problems because nobody's there to explain that this isn't a reality. This is not reality. This is a show. What's a show? Well, it's a made-up thing. This is reality, sort of, maybe, but maybe not. Because maybe I'm just bullshitting people and having a good time. So it's a show, not to be taken seriously. I would like it if you did take it seriously, but I'm making an example here. This is what you have. You have all this people going around doing this stuff, and they don't. see the consequences. You go to jail now. A gang member goes to jail now. We're talking like the Latin Kings or the Two Aces or any of these famous street gangs that are out there. They walk in there and they're hooked up with a group, either the Aryan Nation or the what was the what do the blacks call them? The Zulus or something. I forget what the blacks call their groups, or the blacks use their gang names. And you're hooked up with these people. There's one gang. I think it's the Latin Kings. I might be wrong. With most of their officers are in jail. It's run from the jail. They sell drugs in jail. They run the prison system from inside. They live like kings. It's easier for them inside than it is outside. You get fed every day on time. You don't have to worry about debt or anything like that. Don't have to worry about the price of gasoline or anything like that. You got TV, air conditioning, all those lovely things. So that's it. How do you cure that? I don't know. But that's different from what I was started out talking to you about, where all these idiots are running around killing people. You have people preaching insurrection. That's not right. I mean, I've never heard of that. I've never heard somebody saying that. I've never heard a political figure, a member of the White House staff, do an interview and say, this is after he said, all right, he's not a member of the White House staff now, he was, and do an interview where he says that a Myanmar type insurrection should happen now. A coup, a military based coup should happen right this minute. I don't think so. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's just pure unadulterated bullshit. It shouldn't be allowed out. The guy should go to jail. You know, I mean, Trump should go to jail for insurrection, inciting a riot, obstruction of justice, whatever you want. And people look at it, and it's the story that came out after OJ. When you all remember OJ Simpson, when he killed those people and everybody and got away with it, and the people came back, and his lawyer said that anybody else that didn't have his money would have been in jail in a week, would have been convicted, sent to jail in a week, which is basically saying bullshit walks, money talks, and that's I mean, that's not a way it should be. I mean, Trump shouldn't be able, just because he's president of the United States, he shouldn't be allowed to get away with what they're getting away with. Things like this just shouldn't happen. I, you know, I don't like it. There's not much I can do about it, except talk here, rant and rave, and hope somebody listens and hope somebody thinks I'm right and somebody tries to do something about this. And maybe, just maybe, something will happen. All right, we're coming up to the last minute or two here. I wish I had people talking to me, then I could answer some questions and try to, or say, okay, I'll look this up and we'll discuss it next week. It just doesn't work that way all the time. Um, I'm hoping somebody watches these things. Not because I'm doing it and I expect that I want to make money off of it or anything like that. I enjoy doing it. Um, but one of the things I can tell you about the things I say, okay, I've been wrong. You know, I'm not perfect, but I've been more right than wrong. And it might sound scary, but I try to, do what I do based upon things people tell me, or that I read, or that I listen to. I'm a lot out of touch now. I mean, when I was 10 in bar, I was really into this stuff. I could talk to people and hear all this stuff. And it was an entirely different ball game. It's different now. You know. All right, we're either going to go off 30 seconds early or 30 seconds late. So listen, have a great week, and I'll talk to you next week.